Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. We're all live. Everybody can see me good. We here, back at it again. Just give me 1 second, making sure everything is good. It's on the up and up. You guys see me good. Audio is good. Just 1 second. I think I'm muted. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, audio is good. Visual is good. I'd like to first of all give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, the God of Israel, Ba'ashim Mashiach Yahushai, Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashim Mashiach Yahushai, Kal Halal, all praises, Yahweh, the name of the Father. He exists, He is eternal, in Paleo Hebrew, Ba'ashim, in the name, Yahushai, the only begotten Son, He is deliverer, He is Savior. Back again, guys. We actually today, quick lesson. Somebody requested me to do a video on marriage, and yeah, the whole nation Israel. I know the woman, they're gonna love that, and you guys should know by now. We are the children of Israel. We are part of the 12 tribes. We've been through it with the last videos, like especially Deuteronomy 28, the breakdown on that. You should take a look at it, explaining exactly why we're going through the things we're going through right now, including one thing that's going on right now in our nation. It's whoring out our sisters, and our men are becoming sodomites. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah, which is total madness. It's like being a faggot now is a new style, man. And no lie, man. Now I'm turning on the TV nowadays, all I see it's like homosexuality, or women are naked on the pole, stick that thing, make it train, and all that madness that actually we've been indoctrinated, and that is trying to push on us. And everything that you see they're pushing on us, regardless what it is, at the end of the day, it's all for us not to keep the commandments, because they know who we are, and they will do anything in their power to make sure that they stay in power. And how do they stay in power? It's real simple. They have to keep us in sin. We are the key to the solution, and we are the key to their fall and their destruction. So if you want to get out of here like I do, can't wait to get out of here. Can't wait to get the promise that the Most High has actually promised us. And part of it is to actually rule these people, be over them, and to make them pay back for everything that they did. So actually to punch them in the face and every other place that they have to be punched in. Can't wait to do that. But for now, we all will stay in the spirit, get that teaching going, trying to actually seal the 144,000, get us locked in, so we can get out of this this madness and what we've been going through for quite some time now. So, marriage, right? I'll start with first precept. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. There you go. So marriage, right? The first precept I'm gonna go to, it's this one. I'm gonna go at the beginning, right? That's where it all started, which is in Genesis, right? The first commandments. If you go through Genesis, right, like basically like you want to go one, God created the world and whatnot. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So in another video, of course, we'll do a breakdown of Genesis, and I heard a bunch of things so far, like some people, they break it down some way. Who knows? You'll be the judge. I'll give you my breakdown, and I always see it here at Kingdom of Kings. And the point is, basically, that's the creation. That's Genesis, which means in the Hebrew, it's Bereshit, which means the beginning, at the beginning and whatnot. Bereshit in Hebrew. And if we go to number 27, 127. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So that part here is basically explaining to you when he created Adam and Eve. I know some people break it down that they created them right here is many people. Adam was like a nation and whatnot. This can be, well, my breakdown, my understanding, you be the judge. Maybe I'm the one that is wrong, but to my understanding right here, Adam is one man and Eve was one man. It wasn't a whole nation. We came from one man. I have pretty precept to back that up. And the reason why they say created he them right here is because as soon as you have more than one, it's a plural. It's them. So it's talking about Adam and Eve. He created he them. So he created man in his own image. So man was there first. In the image of God created he him, right? So he's just talking about Adam until that part. And then he mentioned male and female created he them. So there was only Adam. There was only one at first. And then he made a male and a female. He created Eve. And then they became them. So in order, the only reason why it's them is because there was two of them. As soon as you get more than one, it's them. Not because there was like plenty Adam, plenty Eve. That's basically not what it's saying. And there's also a bunch of precept to back it up. But for now, we're going to stick to marriage. So the first commandments that was ever given to them when they actually been created, it's 128 Genesis, right after. And God blessed them, which is Adam and Eve. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. So the pure essence of a wedding, of marriage, it's to multiply. So basically, a man and woman have babies, not Adam and Steve, not Eve and Yvette. It's man and woman, and the point is multiply, make babies. Any other way you cannot make babies. So it told you right here, naturally, a man and woman supposed to go together, and at the end of the day, they're supposed to build a family, right? So that's the first commandment to man and woman. And that's the one we're breaking right now with all type of madness, homosexuality. It's running high right now. It's like it's a style now. It's basically that's what it is. That's total madness, right? But so that was the first marriage in the Bible, right? Adam and Eve, right? So at the end of the day, that's the first commandment. And multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So we have dominion over every single thing. That's what we were created for. Like I was saying at the beginning, the men and women supposed to come together and multiply, right? So we're going to go to the creation itself of Adam. How did that happen? So when you see like male and female created in them, so that you go to Genesis in that chapter 2. Yeah, chapter 2, verse. We're going to start at let's start right here at 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet to him. First of all, God never intended for man to be alone by himself. So it's not good for a man to be alone. So he has to have a helpmeet. So the woman is to help the man, is to help the man in whatever work the Most High gave men to do. Is an assistant. You don't run the house. We're not created equal like they try to push in America. Not only actually for the men as a helpmeet, but you've been created for the men and not the other way around, right? And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. So Adam is the one who named all and every single living thing. Adam called every living creature. That was the name of the earth. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found an helpmeet. Once again, you see, he repeats it twice, and helpmeet for him, right? And the Lord God caused a deep sleep, so he put Adam to sleep. I'll give you the breakdown of all these. Like some people, they have different understanding of these verses and whatnot. But for now, we're going to stick to the marriage. To fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. One thing I like to say all the time, some people, they don't believe in that book. They think it's all like a fairy tale and whatnot. But that part alone, to take the woman from your rib, if you actually pay attention, if you actually have been with a woman and whatnot, and everybody knows that, what is the favorite place a woman like to actually be like what is the favorite position a man and a woman are naturally comfortable in when they get together? The woman gets right under your heart, which is right here on your rib. Regardless, that's the reason why the man is a little usually always higher, so you actually have his arm around his woman's neck and whatnot. And if you look at where the woman likes to actually place herself, is right here, which is right where your ribs at. And it's done naturally. You can actually, if you never notice, that's just the way how it is. And that's just to prove to you that's exactly what the God, the Most High God, that's where the woman's coming from. So we always have to go back to where you're coming from. So for the woman, she comes back. She comes from the man's rib, and just like when you have a baby, the baby like to be where exactly on top of her mom's belly, which is where they feel comfortable, because that's where they're coming from as well. And men is coming from the Most High God, so that's where our spirituality is always to a level where we're always trying to be like as perfect as we can in the image of the Most High, because that's where we coming from. So that's how the hierarchy goes. But believe it or believe me not, that's how it is, and you can verify that by yourself, right? And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman. So Adam gave woman their name. So that's the reason why woman has to reverence men, right? Because we're the one that gave you your name and you come from men. Not that you're not important. Every single thing in God's kingdom works in perfect harmony, and everything is important. I know this society trying to push like independent women, like I was saying in the last video. Where's the independent Chinese woman? Where's the independent West Indian women? Where are the independent Arabs women? These women, regardless if actually their men would be the most violent in the world, they want their family structure. They know that they have to have a man. Black woman, everybody's mocking you. You're the one that's doing everything by yourself, raising all the kids, go to work, and all that stuff. You're not to do all this. You're not born. You were not created to do all this. That's supposed to be, there's supposed to be a structure. We lost the structure. We have to get that back. In every single thing, there's a structure, there's a hierarchy, there's a way things flows naturally and goes well. When you break any part of it, any part of the structure, that's when things start going south, things start going like on the left field, go wrong. And that's basically what's been going on with us. We have to get back to the natural structure and the natural course of things, including that part. And that's what's up. So her name, and she shall be called woman because she was taken out of men, right? Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother. So that's when men leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. One flesh. Well, that means that they will morph together. They will become some type of monster, and like they'll become one person. No, of course, right? So you have to understand the terminology and the writing, the way they actually write these things, right? Just like metaphors and whatnot, dark saying. So become one flesh, what does that mean? They have to become one, like just one person, one mind. And that same thing as well, like I was saying before, there's always two meanings to every scriptures. One flesh as is one, thinking as one person, like the Navy, right? They all one, we one person, and also on one accord. And one flesh means that now you're going to produce a baby. So like two-person will make one. It's always one baby. You can make multiple babies or like twins and triplets and whatnot. But the whole point is that two-person will become one and become one flesh, right? And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. So that's basically the first marriage in the Bible, right from the beginning, the creation of Adam and Eve. And as you can see, there's no church, no such thing as church like there. There's no nothing, no church, no bells, no throwing rice, and nobody to invite because they're the only one. So there's nobody to invite except the Most High. So the Most High is the one that put people together and nothing else. Just give me 1 second. Bear with me, guys. My bad, guys. Salakia, Salakia. Salakia means in Hebrew, in Paleo Hebrew, my bad. Do apologize, Salakia. So Uh, was I muted? Like if I was muted, I was saying Salakia, guys, which means in Paleo Hebrew, my bad. I do apologize. And and yeah, so that's the first marriage, like in the Bible, and that's why a man and a woman has to go together, not Adam and Steve, not Eve and Yvette. There's no two women, two men. And speaking of that, we're gonna go to this one. Is it this one? Oh, yeah, let's go to Deuteronomy. Precept for that. No, we're not going to Deuteronomy. We're going to go the one in Leviticus. My bad. Even though Leviticus, right? We're going to go to Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19 and 29, if I'm not mistaken. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. So that's one of the commandments of the Most High. We're not supposed to whore out the daughters of Zion. And a precept on that, second witness, as you know now how to read this book, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Deuteronomy 23:17, and it reads, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel, right? So no faggots, and we don't whore out our sisters on the pole and all this madness that's been going on. Make it rain, shake that ass, drop it like it's hot. No, don't drop it like it's hot. Hold it like it's cold. That's what you have to do. Hold it back like it's cold, right? So it is what it is. At the end of the day, that was the first marriage in the Bible, and there was no church, no nothing. So the Most High is the one that put people together, right? I know there are some people that saying like their sex before marriage is a sin. That's why Christianity is like madness and it's totally retarded. But in the Bible itself, scriptures and teaching of the Most High, there's no such thing as sex before marriage. First of all, sex itself consume the marriage, right? But if you actually do have sex with a woman, the only sin is that, like I would say, like one night stand. If you have sex with her and then actually don't take her as a wife, so that's what we call fornication, right? So one night stand and all that madness. So as soon as you have sex with a woman, she shall surely be your wife. So we're gonna go for that law. So sex is not. I heard some people break down that sex is marriage. I understand the way some people try to actually explain it in that way, but it's not totally right. And I'll explain you why. At the end of the day, I'll just give you a quick example. Um, so we're going to go Exodus 22, right? Exodus 22:16, right? And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, so that means if a man actually flirt with a woman and whatnot and get actually with the daughter of Israel that is not betrothed and lie with her, so that means she doesn't have a man, so she's not is not committing adultery, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. So perfect example here to show you that if sex was marriage, so then the law should say, and if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, she is his wife, right? But it's not saying that she is his wife. If he lies with her and she's not betrothed, so first of all, she has to be single. He has to sleep with her. So you see now he's sleeping with her before getting married. So sex before marriage is not a sin, right? He shall surely endow her to be his wife. So once he sleeps with her, if she's not betrothed, she's single. After that, that's his duty. He cannot let her go. He has to marry her, right? And if her father utterly refused to give her unto him, just to show you how the Most High doesn't play with that rule. He shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. So even if the father doesn't accept it, he doesn't like the man that actually stepped with his daughter, he still has to accept the dowry, and she still has to be his wife. Thou shalt not suffer evidence. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. So that's just to show you that it's not really the sex that is marriage. So if the woman's already betrothed, she actually, if she's not betrothed, if she's single and he lies with her, if he doesn't take her as a wife, that's the sin. That becomes fornication, right? And if she's already betrothed, that's adultery, right? But if she's not and he lies with her, then she shall become his wife, right? And just to prove it to you with the second precept, Deuteronomy 22, right? So check this out. Deuteronomy 22, the 13, Deuteronomy 22:23. If a damsel means a young lady and whatnot, that is a virgin, so that means she never had sex, be betrothed unto an husband, and the man find her in the city and lie with her, then you shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city. So if sex was marriage, you see here, that woman was a virgin, but she was betrothed to a man. So she was promised to somebody. So she never had sex, she was just promised to somebody. And the men find her in the city and lie with her. So that means she didn't cry. So if she cried, that's only the man has to die. But if the woman didn't cry, even if she was a virgin, because if sex was marriage, in that case, she would automatically be his wife. But she would be betrothed to another man. But that's not the case. You see, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, if she's already betrothed, she's already your wife. Just like Eve, she was already betrothed, promised to Adam, automatically that's his wife, even if they don't have sex yet. So sex is not actually marriage. It's as soon as the girl woman is promised to a man, she's actually his wife, automatically, even if they never had sex. And a man find her in the city and lie with her, then you shall bring them both, so both is guilty, out unto the gate of that city, and you shall stone them with stones that they die. So you have to kill them. The damsel, because she cried not. So once again, the woman, she didn't cry. So if she didn't cry, that means she actually agreed. She was consent. She consent to that sexual relationship. Being in the city, and the man, because he had humbled his neighbor's wife. You see, his neighbor's wife. You see, she wasn't. When you actually have sex with that woman, you humble her, like you humble that woman. So you humble his neighbor's wife. You see, she was already your wife because she was betrothed to you. So once again, to clarify that saying, people say sex is marriage. That's not exactly right. And I give you two precepts for that. So thou shalt put away evil from among you. So if she's betrothed, she's a virgin. But if a man find a betrothed damsel, you see, like the same example, she might be a virgin as well. He didn't say virgin, but like for the sake of the example, we see the but. The but means that's exactly the opposite of the first one. That's the subject at hand. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field and the man force her, so that means he forced that woman and lie with her, and then the man only that lay with her shall die. So if you force that woman, even if she's a virgin and she betrothed, then the man is guilty because the woman didn't want, she didn't comply to it. She didn't consent to that relationship. But unto the damsel that shall do nothing, there is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. So she didn't do nothing in that case because she cried and actually she got forced to do that thing. And that's about it. And for as when a man rise against his neighbor and slay him, even so it is this matter. So that clarifies it. And to actually drive the point home, when it comes to what is adultery, it's real simple. Leviticus 20 and 10. Leviticus 20 and 10. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife. So actually, the woman has to be betrothed. She has to be somebody else's. That's when you commit adultery. Even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress, so the man and the woman, shall surely be put to death. So the sentence is death for both of them. So that's what adultery is. So that means a man is sleeping with another man's wife. But a man that sleeps with a single woman, that's not adultery. And a woman that sleeps with a man, even if he has 1,000 wives, that is not adultery, right? The woman, the only way she can commit adultery, only if she already has a man. If she has a man, she sleeps with another man, she's an adulteress. If she sleeps with a man that already has another woman, that's not adultery. Just to clear out the confusion that they teach us in church, because men can have multiple wives and not the other way around. It is what it is. Bring it up to the Most High if you don't like it. It is what it is. If you want to be a faggot, sleeps with men, bring it up to the Most High. And the lesbian, same thing as well. Right? So at the end of the day, just to actually get back on it, the first marriage, and boom, 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 boom. I think it's close to here. Yeah, okay, that was three. My bad, guys. So we have to go to four. And so you see, Adam already had Eve. She was betrothed to him, no sex and whatnot. And that's where Adam had sex with Eve. He had time to actually get chased out of the garden and whatnot. They had time to commit their sin and whoopty whoopty womp womp, like not to actually change the subject. And the chapter 4:1, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, right? Adam knew Eve, his wife, right? So that's his wife. And she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So that she was his wife even before he had sex with her. That's because she was already promised to Adam. So that's automatically your wife. So if a man sleeps with her, even if she's a virgin, and actually she cries and you're not supposed to sleep with her, that's actually a sin. And if she doesn't cry, that's also a sin, but she has to be put to death as well. Because this time she actually didn't say anything. She did it like she consent to it, even if she was betrothed to another man. So that's for the first marriage in the Bible. And at the end of the day, this is an honorable thing. If we go to Hebrew 13, Hebrew 13, let's bear with me 1 second, guys. It won't be too long. Just have to check something fast. Well, I'll just give you that precept first. Hebrew 13, the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, I mean like 13. And marriage, 13:4, my bad. Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. Right? So adulterers, whoremongers is men like a men loving woman, whoremongers, like actually like a it's like a male prostitute, right? So that's what a whoremongers is. And being married is honorable in any place, in all senses whatsoever, and the bed undefiled. So when a man and a woman, you're married together, you can get along, get as many kids as you want. Nobody can tell you anything. But whoremongers and adulterers, those God will judge, right? So we see that God doesn't accept like anything else beside marriage, and it's punishable at the end of the day for to death, like the punishment. Like like there's different type of sin in the Bible. The sins that are to death, those are abomination to the Lord. When you actually have a sin, then the sentence is like stone you to death. That means it's one of the worst sin you can ever commit. So that's the reason why, like adultery and whatnot, to the Most High, even if the other nation does it, you can even take the wife of another man's nation. That's something the Most High really has a no, 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 no. There's no go for the Most High for that one. Like so, that's what it is. And at the end of the day, when it comes to actually regular Israelites and whatnot, there was one rule. It's basically like that's your wife. You're supposed to take a wife, and you're not supposed to take a wife from these specific nation. So we'll go through these on another lesson. But one of the law of Israel, Leviticus 20 and 10, right? No, okay, that's the one we just saw. It's not 20 and 10, it's 21, my bad. Leviticus 21. 20 and 10 was the definition of adultery. 20 and 10. 20 and 10. 20 20 and 7 for the priests, right? So that's basically what we just saw now was just from people, like actually when the any tribes whatsoever, mostly the tribes of Shimeon, Judah, Issachar, all the other tribes, to the exception of the Levitical priests, like Levites. The Levites, as a priest, which is all the descendants of Aaron, because like the priesthood was given to the descendants of Aaron. There's more sons of Levi, but the specific bloodline that was given the high priest, the priesthood, was the sons of Aaron. So the sons of Aaron, the only difference with them, they cannot marry. There you go. They shall not take a wife that is a whore, first of all. So a priest cannot take a whore as a wife, or that is profane. So actually a woman that is actually out of order and whatnot, that is not sanctified, and that is not pure, and that not abiding by the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. Neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband. So you cannot take a woman that's been divorced from her husband. That's a specific law for the priest. The priest from the get-go, they cannot take any woman that is a whore, profane, or put away. Even if she's divorced, the priest cannot marry her. For he is holy unto his God, because the priest has specific rules. And also, a priest, in Ezekiel 44, to be more precise, like another precept for the priest, neither shall they take for their wives a widow. So she can't be a widow. So even if the husband dies, she cannot take her as a wife, nor her that is put away. If actually we just saw that before, but they shall take maidens of the seed of the house of Israel only. So she can only be an Israelite, or a widow that had a priest before. So if she's a widow, or if she's been put away, like it has to be like with another priest, with another Levite, with another wife of somebody that was from the bloodline of Aaron. So that was one of the specifications for the priest that's only attached to the priest. They never could have married anybody else outside of the kingdom of Israel. So now, with that said and done, just give me 1 second again, Jessica. Salakia. My apologies, guys. Got to do a bunch of things at the same time, but we're still going to get it done. So at the end of the day, that's a commandments. Like so, to the priests, they cannot take wives from different nations. Though most of Israel, well, now that's actually when we had the first covenant with the Most High. That's one law that was only for the priest. The other men of the nation could take other wives, but there was rules to it. So we're going to go through it. But before that, here's one rule that was for all Israel. That's Deuteronomy. Sheesh. I don't even know how to write Deuteronomy anymore, man. Deuteronomy 7, right? My goodness, my keyboard's going bananas. Deuteronomy 7, right? Deuteronomy 7 and 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. So basically, that's a commandment that was given to us. But this one was given to certain nation that we couldn't marry, right? So we're actually specific. Well, first of all, the priests, they cannot do it. They just can't. There's no exception for the priest, right? When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and had cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. But as we go through the lessons, you'll see that Israel, with stiff neck, we don't listen. That commandment alone, the Most High told us to actually utterly destroy them. We actually did listen when we end up mixing ourselves with them, which is like the doo-doo eating African, which is the descendant of Ham. That's what they do. They eat doo-doo and whatnot. So we're not the same people at the end of the day. But let the truth be told, they're doo-doo eating. They take they take bath in their piss and whatnot. They actually booty scratching. They totally different, a different soul, right? So those are the descendants of Ham, right? So including Canaan, which was the cursed seed, But that's part of another lesson as well. But at the end of the day, we could not take into marriage, like we not like these nations, we cannot take them and marry them, right? So that was a commandment, regardless if you're a priest and whatnot. We didn't listen to it. However, if we go Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy 10, right? Deuteronomy 10. No, I said 10, my bad. Deuteronomy 21, 21 and 10. Chapter 21, verse 10. 21, verse 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord, that's the priest actually giving you a blessing. That's another commandment of the Most High. So just to give you the context, when thou goest, so if you go, when you go to war, so the priest, like you'll read it, like actually we'll go through it. Well, actually, we'll start here. No, actually, we can start here because that speaks all about like the woman and whatnot. When thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord thy God delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and as a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. So those are for the rest of the tribes, excluding the priests. You could take any woman of the other nation actually as wives, but not in the land where the God actually promised you to give you an heritage. So any nations that was actually in Israel, dwelling in Israel at that time, we could not take any of those women as wife, but the woman that was taken from land that was far off, those you could take them as wife. And then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her. She shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, right? And shall remain in thine house and bewail her father and her mother a full month. So that basically when you bring that girl home, usually you would have killed all her family, her father, her mother. So you only take the virgin as well, right? She has to be like a total virgin. And her mother for a full month. And after that, thou shalt go in unto her, going unto her, make her your wife. You see, once again, you're going unto her before and be your husband. So you see, like you can go into her before. They always actually keep putting it in order, right? Once you go into her, now she's your wife and shall be thy wife. So sex before marriage, like Christianity is saying all the time, it's total madness. It's not biblical. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast umbrella. So we'll go through like the rest of the law and whatnot, but like this law specifically shows you that these women, like if she's not an Israelite, at the end of the day, you can let her go as you please. You're not actually like bound to her like an Israelite woman. An Israelite woman, when you get with her, you're not supposed to actually divorce her for any reason except for sexual immoralities. We'll go through that as well. But at the end of the day, that's the only way you could take a wife from another nation, and you actually can't be a priest, and she has to be from another land that is far off the land that the Most High gave us as a possession, which is Israel, right? Which is part of the law. And if a man, speaking of that, actually, some people, they actually been asking as well. That's going to be another lesson. That's like polygyny. Men has like multiple wives. It's all over the Bible as well. And there's laws about it as well. That's just to show you that the Most High has no problem about that. And just to quickly go through it, but the point today is the marriage. And if a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, so if a man has two women at the same time, one that he loves and one that he hates, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he make this son to inherit that which he had, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. So there's a law in Israel. When you have kid, your firstborn son is the one that has double portion of what of your inheritance. So you have to give him double than all the other kids. So if you actually have two wives at the same time, and your firstborn ended up being with the wives that you hate, and the other wives that you actually love, she's the one that doesn't have the firstborn, no matter what, you still have to give the inheritance of double portion to the firstborn, even if it's the wife that you hate. So just to quickly show you like polygyny in the Bible, but that's actually on another in another video. But speaking of marriage, you see, like we actually had the option to marry women from another nation, but they had to be from a land that was far off. So just give me 1 second. It won't be too long. So that's pretty much it. So that was a land that was far off. And besides that, I'll just take the other precept, guys, if you just bear with me. What was the one? Was it the one I just said? Was it that one? No, that was Deuteronomy. All right, Deuteronomy 7. My bad, guys. Salakia, Salakia. Um, just looking for a specific verse. Looking for a specific verse. Give me a second, guys. It's what is it again? Sheesh, man. I don't know how to type anymore. I think it's my keyboard is going bananas, man. Or hmm, can't recall that precept, guys, but we're gonna find it. Hmm, can't find it now. I know I'm gonna find it. Hmm, I know it's somewhere. Anyways, I'll find it for you guys because that's a very good precept to go with what I've just mentioned. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So we can take women from the land that are far off Israel, but not the one that's in the land in Deuteronomy 7. And that's about it. And another precept for that also, it's a Tobit 4 and 12. As you can see right here, beware of all whoredom. Once again, you shall not whore out the daughter of Israel. My son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers. So even for the rest of the nation, even if like the priest, there's no go for it, but the rest of the nation as well, the word was we have to take a woman from the seed of thy father and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy fathers, right? For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Right? So even Tobit, you see the same sentiment. And at the end of the day, if we go to Sirach, Sirach. Where's Sirach at? Where? Sirach 13 and 16, right? Sirach 13 and 16. Right? All flesh consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. So every man will actually go with the same kind of flesh that he is. So that just like the fish goes with like the same kind of fish, the lion goes with the lioness, the horse goes with another horse, and whatnot. So the same thing for men. Like every nation, they go with their own kind. And the same thing as well, if you go Sirach also 26:19. 26:19, right? My son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock. So that you keep stays to your own nation and actually like put sow your seed into your own. So that stock you have to trust in it, which is the stock of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So that's basically what this these precepts all about. And at the end of the day, also, speaking of precept, right? So you see here, gotten a fruitful possession. Speaking of possession, right? We go to Sirach 36:34. It's 36:34. I said 36:24, my bad. So he that getteth a wife begin the possession. He helped like unto himself and a pillar of rest. A help, once again, back to the helpmeet. He that getteth a wife, begin the possession. A help like unto himself and a pillar of rest. So she has to be like unto himself. So that's why you have to match. So that's what we call chemistry at the end of the day in a couple. And it's a help like unto himself and a pillar of rest. So your wife's supposed to make you rest. You're supposed to be at ease with your wife. So if you come home and you have a wife that actually make you go crazy, she's a wicked woman. But the portion of a wicked man will be given to a wicked woman, just to follow up on the precept. And speaking of that, the reason why they call it a possession, a woman is a man's possession. The woman start with her father at first, so that's why she carried the name of her father, because actually we know that the seed, every family goes by the father's house. So that's the reason why the wife, she actually take the man's last name, and the kids, they have to take the father's last name, because she actually passed from her father's last name, from the property of her father to the property of the man just that she's marrying. And that's the way it's been since the beginning of time. And that's the reason why the woman has to actually leave her name and take the man. She actually leave a man's name to take another man's name. So she's a possession for her father at first, and then she become a possession to her husband. And that's the way it goes. So if you go to Proverbs 18:22, we have another precept on that. Proverb 18. We don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, everybody got their role in a couple. 50-50 doesn't exist with the Most High, and the man is the one that actually is the chief of the house, and the woman is a helpmeet to the man. She's actually is not like a slave. That doesn't mean you have to spit on her. You have to treat her right. You have to treat her like the princess that she is, because she's also valuable to the structure of the family. But there has to be a structure. One has to be the leader, and is the man, right? So once again, Proverbs 18:22, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor of the Lord. So when you find a wife, you find a good thing. It's a good thing to have a wife, right? But she is a possession. She's a possession. She's the possession of the man, not the other way around, right? So I know everybody's trying to actually get it twisted. If you actually go with the Bible, that's what the Bible is saying, including sex before marriage. This is non-biblical, right? So one thing also that I was mentioning before in Sirach, right? Sirach 26, verse 23. That's right here, right? A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. So if you are a wicked woman, you'll be matched with a wicked man. and vice versa. But a godly woman is given to him that fear the Lord. What is a godly woman? That you can do it on your own. You can just read pretty much like a virtuous woman. Speaking of virtuous, like 26:1, you see, blessed is the man that had a virtuous wife, right? For the number of his days shall be double. Having a virtuous wife is a gift from the Most High. And the definition of virtuous wife, you can find it in, I'll just go through it, but we actually go to all these precepts. You can go in Proverbs 31, start at verse 10. Proverbs 31 and start at verse 10, right? So that we won't read it all, but just for you to see it and know where it is. So who can find a virtuous woman? For the price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does do it safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil, and so on and so on. So read it all the way to the end. If you want to know what is a good wife, and if a man you want to know what you should take, what you should look into a woman to actually be your wife, that's what you have to actually look for. And once again, also, if you sleep with a woman, fornication, if you actually don't take her as a wife. So before you sleep with any woman, be responsible. Your wee don't have it all over the place, and then just leave these women with multiple children and whatnot. You have to be able to control your wee. If your wee goes somewhere, your wee said wee, so the wee has to be with that other woman, like forever and ever and ever. And the only thing that can actually, right, bring a divorce. If we go in the book of Matthew, word of the Yahushua himself, like I was saying before, the only way you can put a woman away, so make sure you take your wife with um, with with good understanding of who she is before you do anything with her, because once you take her, you cannot put her away, except Matthew 19, starting at verse 3 to 10. 19 verse 3. And the Pharisees also came unto him. The him here, right here, it's Yahushai, tempting him. So they were already like, they're trying to actually trap him, like they were trying to do all the time. The Pharisees, they were like wicked, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? Right? So you cannot put your wife away for there's only one exception. And he answered and said unto them, have you not read that have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? That's actually the verse that we saw at the beginning, like with the Adam and whatnot, which is like Genesis 2 and 17, I believe, just to get back to it. 127, Genesis 127, right? So Genesis 127. Where was I? Where was Matthew? Right here. Right? So precept Genesis 127. And male and female created them, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain, which means two, shall be one flesh, right? Wherefore they are no more twain, no more two, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. So whatever God put together, just like Eve and whatnot, let no man actually separate, and let no man put them apart. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? So that basically, if you go Ecclesiasticus 25:26, what they're talking about right here is part of the law that Moses actually put out. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. Right? So that's what they're talking about right here. And he said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. So basically, that is a law that is not supposed to be, because now we're going to be in the kingdom of heaven. We're going to be like at the end, when everything will be all said and done, nobody can put away his wife. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication. Once again, the only reason why you can leave your wife is for fornication. Fornication includes if she becomes a lesbian, If she's committing incest, she starts sleeping with her own father, her own mother, her own son, her own daughter, bestiality, anything related with like actually immoralities, like sexual immoralities. She actually start doing bestiality, sleeping with animals and whatnot. Adultery falls in it as well. It's the same thing. If she sleeps with another man, those are the only reason why you can put your wife away. Besides that, she can be the worst woman ever. She can drive you crazy. She can not know how to cook. If you actually if you like good food and want a woman that knows how to cook, and you actually decide to sleep with her and she becomes your wife, well, you have to deal with it. You cannot put her away even if she doesn't know how to cook an egg. If she burns everything that she cooks, well, you know what? She's your wife forever. She has to be doing any type of fornication and shall marry another. And if she marries somebody else, that's also a sin. Committed adultery and also married her, which is put away, that commit adultery as well. So if she actually have a wife and you put her away and another man marries that woman, that's also adultery. Now, when the Most High came in, when Yahushua came in, that's basically the thing that he actually specified in the law. That was supposed to be the same thing at first, but because of the hardness of their heart, Moses like did a few basically like Moses made it in a way for them not to destroy each other. So that's why divorce was basically accepted for other reasons than sexual immorality. But when Yahushua came back on the scene, he put everything back in order like it's supposed to be from the get-go. So you're not supposed to put your wife away except for fornication, and adultery is included in it. And his disciples say unto him, in the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. They say, like, if that's the case, it's better for a man to stay alone. But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. So all men won't be able to understand that, except to those that it applies to. Those that will understand the prophecy, would understand the mysteries of the prophecies and what Yahusha was mentioning right here. So that was basically to make sure that you don't put your wife away, no matter what. You have to stick with her. Make sure you choose her wisely. That's all it is. And keep your wee away. If you actually can't deal with it, there's no actually one night stand. There's no, what was that song again? Ray J. All these songs, this guy, it's all about like having sex with your wife and whatnot. Those are all sins. This is all wickedness, guys. And that's basically it. So divorce, that's all it is. That's the only reason why you can put your wife away. And you're supposed to have kids as well. Back in the days, right, the woman, when she gets with a man, if she doesn't have kids, that was what they call a reproach to that woman. So just to give you a quick example, you see right here, you have, that's the Genesis. If you go to Rachel, Genesis 30:1, you see Rachel was one of the wife of Jacob. Once again, you see the patriarch Jacob, out of the 12 tribes of Israel was created is out of polygyny. He has like 4 wives. So for people that actually think like polygyny, a man with multiple wives, it's a sin, or men are not supposed to do it and whatnot, or the New Testament, like the so-called Christians trying to claim that Yahushua changed the law, show me that he changed that law. Not only the divorce, he got it back to what it was at first, so you're not supposed to leave your wife away, but show me anywhere that it actually is mentioning that these laws that we had for multiple wives has been is now null and void, or is actually rectify it and changed it, or actually modify whatever, put it back to what it was at the beginning. Show me anywhere in the New Testament, so-called New Testament, that Yahushua has changed that. You won't find it. It's not there. I'll save you the word. It's just men's trying to push their own doctrine and trying to make people believe their own thing. So just for a woman supposed to actually be married, and you're supposed to have children. At the end of the day, nowadays, people just get married just for face value. They just get married just for just for the gallery, just to actually make it look good. But at the end of the day, they are not married and wife because they're not bearing child. And a woman back then, and when Rachel saw, like one of the wife of Jacob, when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me child or else I die. For a woman back then, not having kids was an insult. They would rather die than not having kids with a man. And 30:23, and she conceived and bare a son, and said, God had taken away my reproach. So that was a reproach to women back then. And to give you another example as well, in the New Testament, so-called New Testament, if you go in the book of Luke, St. Luke, chapter 1, and I believe it's verse 25, if I'm not mistaken. Luke, that was basically, this is the wife of what you call that, the priest, the father of John the Baptist, right, which was a Nazarite. We'll get to that like another lesson as well. And his wife was Elizabeth, right? And at the end of the day, that wife said, um, 25, 125, 125, 125, 125, 125. There you go. Thus hath the Lord dealt with me in the days wherein he looked on me to take away my reproach among men. So that's when she had the news that she would be bearing and she would have a son, which is like John the Baptist, who was born just a little bit before Yahusha, which was part of the prophecy as well. If you go in Isaiah 42, 40 and whatnot, and Malachi as well, is actually preparing the way before the Most High God. That's another lesson. But at the end of the day, she was barren, right? She was barren. She couldn't have any kids and whatnot, any child. At the end of the day, because kids is just it goes with the goat. Men cannot have kids, so the kid is a baby, a baby goat. So men, they have children and infants and whatnot. So the child, she couldn't have any child. She was barren, and the Most High actually gave her the news and whatnot. Anyways, we'll read the story. But at the end of the day, as you can see, to take away my reproach among men. The same thing for her. So a woman that actually would not raise child, would not have child for a man, that was a reproach. Like, like people would look at you like something's wrong with you and whatnot. Because that was the ultimate point, like we actually were seeing in Genesis. Go and multiply. So we have to multiply. So one shall become one, you will become one flesh. The twain will become one flesh. And that's part of it. So we've been through a lot so far. Like you see, like she was a spouse, like then you have Mary and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you see, having kids and being married was very honorable. And that's something that has never changed for the Most High. That's what he created men and women to be. But nowadays, everybody's wicked. The woman thinks she can be alone and whatnot. But at the end of the day, this is all doctrine that's been pushed, especially here in Israel, because at the end of the day, they were trying to actually reduce our numbers. And just to give you a quick example, that's not like something that's new. They've been doing this since day one. Just to give you a quick example, in Exodus 1, right? Exodus 1, they start at 8, right? Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore, they did set over them taskmaster. The idea, the point is that they were trying everything to kill the newborn babies from the children of Israel, but they just couldn't. And the kings of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one of which the name of the one was Shifra, and the name of the other Pua. And he said, when ye do the office of the midwife of the Hebrew woman and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, you see, when we had a son, they actually asked the midwives to kill them. And you shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then he shall live. Then she shall live. But the point is right here. Number 19. And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women. Once again, you see, like Hebrew Israelite woman, which is us, we're not the same as the Egyptian, the doo-doo eating, the sandwich, eating doo-doo sandwich, and actually taking bath and piss, booty scratching. They're not the same. We're not the same people, right? For they are lively and are delivered here the midwives come in unto them. So they actually would make babies like there's no tomorrow. We're actually very, very fruitful. That's why we have the best woman on earth. And that's the reason why actually they were trying to kill our babies and whatnot. So having babies, it's something not only we are blessed for, but that's exactly why the Most High actually put us on earth. And I got news for the women that think they have the right over their body and whatnot. If they have a baby, they can abort and all that madness and everything that they're trying to push in that community, Planned Parenthood, and all that stuff to abort our babies. Well, look at this. I just have to show you something in Exodus, right? It's Exodus. Is it Exodus or Deuteronomy? No, it's Deuteronomy. No, it's Exodus. Not bad. Guys, just to make sure I give you the right one. Exodus 21. All right. In Exodus 21, check this out. I think it's right here. That was the 16. There you go. Exodus 21:22. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so the woman that is pregnant, so that her fruit depart from her, so that she lost her baby, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, shall be punished, just like she hurt a woman and child, so that her fruit depart from her, so she lost the baby, but nothing else happened after that. He shall be punished for that, according to as the woman's husband will lay upon him. So the husband will decide what is his punishment, right? And he shall pay as the judges determine, right? And if what is that thing that keeps popping up? And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for a life. So if there's a mischief that follows, so that at the end of the day, if she lost the child, if she actually the baby like an abortion and anything of that nature, and if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, end for end, foot for foot, burning for burning, wood for wood, wound for wound, but wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And if men smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. Okay, that's like actually another subject. But at the end of the day, you see, if she lose their child, then you shall give life for life. So if the child loses life, so your life has to be taken away. So all the women that actually are aborting their babies, thinking they're actually doing something right and they're allowed to do it, by the commandment of the Most High, you're committing murder. So your life has to be taken away from you. So if you actually take an eye from him, you have to take your eye also. A tooth for a tooth, so that's a law. For a woman, your baby, you're not allowed to abort it. And also, that's part of the law. If you go in Exodus 20, what law is that? It's real simple. Exodus 20 and right here, thou shalt not kill. So the real word, if you go in the Hebrew, it's thou shalt not murder. Because kill and murder is two different things. We actually kill all the time. We kill the animals to eat. We kill the Passover. We also stone people to death. We kill people when actually they don't follow the commandment, and the judgment is actually stoned to death. So killing is allowed, right? In this right perspective, right? Well, actually, killing is allowed. As soon as you kill somebody that is out of the commandments, that becomes murder. So there's killing and murder. What you actually, the word right here in Hebrew should be translated in murder. That's the thing we cannot do, including aborting your baby. That is also murder. So that's also part of marriage and whatnot. And as you can see in the book, like when you also have like in the book of Paul, we're gonna go through it fast. First Corinthians, speaking of marriage, First Corinthians 7. Right? Now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? So it's just saying instead of committing fornication and whatnot, to actually give you the proper understanding of it, it's better not to touch a man. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, to avoid everybody sleeping all over the place, having sex with your dad's wife, with the homosexuality, lesbianism, or any type of fornication, anything outside of marriage, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife had not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband had not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud you not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. So at the end of the day, what it's saying right here, like when you're actually in the couple, husband and wife, at the end of the day, the wife, you cannot hold back sex to your husband like some women do. I know that's something that women do. They have a headache and they think they control the man with their pussy and whatnot. That's what society trying to push on women. They have the control, they have the pussy. This is such a lie. You're committing a sin when you do that. You cannot hold sex from your man, and your man cannot hold sex from you. So actually, at the end of the day, your body is not yours, his body is not his anymore. And the only time you can actually hold yourself back from sex is when basically there's a Shabbat for fasting, prayers, and specific days, or when you guys decide to actually not having sex for whatever specific reason, or when you just had a baby and whatnot. If not, Satan would get into your couple, and that's what causes also all type of issues, adultery. The man goes somewhere else because actually the woman doesn't give him what he wants, like at home. Same thing for the woman and whatnot. So it's all biblical. You are not supposed to do that. This is madness. This is a sin. You cannot hold sex back from your husband, and you cannot hold self back for your wife. So that's pretty much what about the marriage. And at the end of the day, also, if you go to Isaiah, where's going on here? Isaiah, where's Isaiah? Isaiah 54 and 5, right? Isaiah 54 and 5. For thy maker is thine husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the God of the whole earth shall he be called. So also the Most High is also our husband. He compared Israel to his wife. So you see, the Most High never compares something wicked to something good. So if the Most High said is Israel's husband, and his husband, he has two wives. He has Israel, the northern kingdom, and southern kingdom. That's another example of polygyny with the Most High. So just to show you that concept of people saying that it's not lawful, it's not in the Bible, well, then you have it. The Most High has two wives, and the Most High is also our husband. So we're the Most High's wives. So just to give you another quick example about it as well, it's in Matthew 25, right? Old Testament, some people will say, that was in the Old Testament and whatnot, Christianity and all that madness. But Matthew 25, you see, then shall the kingdom of heaven. So the kingdom of heaven cannot be compared to something wicked, right? The kingdom of heaven, so that means when there's heaven on earth, be likened unto 10 virgins, not one, not two, not three, 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Who's the bridegroom? The Most High, Yahushua in that case, because you've been married to him. So that's actually not only two wives in that case, but 10 virgins. And you see also there are virgins. So that means like they didn't have sex with any other men before. And 5 of them were wise and 5 of them were foolish, right? But the whole point is they'll never compare something wicked to the kingdom of heaven. And that's why you can see that the polygyny, and that's another marriage as well in the Bible. The Mosiah is married to Israel, and that's the reason why we have to get back to him, because we've been committing adultery with the other gods of all the other nations. We've been really, really naughty, right? We've been really naughty. So that's pretty much it. So just to sum it up and to actually close it out, I just want to finish with like a couple more precepts regarding having a wife and whatnot. A wife is a very good thing to have. It's a possession for men. You have to get married, but you have to make sure you choose your wife and your husband carefully. And the woman is a helpmeet to the man, right? So it's actually not the other way around. And if we can go here in First Corinthians, just to show you the hierarchy of things, First Corinthians, where you at, right? First Corinthians 11, right? Let's start with, be followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them unto you. I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, right? So the head of man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man. That's the hierarchy right here. And the head of Christ is God. So even Christ as a hierarchy. So when a woman wants to be 50-50, or a woman will actually run the house and she thinks she runs it all, the woman runs the world, and what that madness they're trying to push on our society, they're trying to push like actually that doctrine, whatever they have on TV and whatnot, you're actually doing what Satan is doing. trying to be above God. So now you actually not only went over men, but actually you went over the whole hierarchy. You went over Christ as well, and you went over God. So you're doing exactly the same thing that Satan is doing, that actually is made for doing. So you're actually not only sinning, but you're blaspheming when you think you're the one that's running the house, or you're 50-50 with the men. You're not equal to the men in that specific sense. We equal in the eyes of the Most High as the children of Israel, but there's a hierarchy to it. The man is above the woman, point blank, period, right? And every man praying or prophesying, it's like you get the point. That's the whole point. That's the hierarchy right here. It's really well explained. There's no if, buts, or maybe. Marriage is a very good thing. And a man and a woman the man shall live his mom, his father, and his mother, and cleave unto his wife. And that's about it. And the other thing as well, we'll discuss in other videos. But for now, that's all I have to say for marriage. If you have any other questions, if you want me to break it down, I know you asked me to get it done, and so it's been you've been served, my man Ezekiel and whatnot. But that's actually edification for everybody. That was marriage in the Bible in a nutshell. There's way more to it, but the foundation and pretty much what it's all about. That's what it is right here. And just to finish with one last verse, I would go 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, because the Most High, 2 Corinthians 11 and 2. Right, 2 Corinthians 2. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy, for I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ. So we are that wife, we are that virgin to Christ, and we have to be presented like actually unblemished. We have to keep the law, statute, and commandments. And at the end of the day, that's why the Most High told us in Matthew 22 and 9. Matthew 22 and 9. 22 and 9. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So the marriage to the Most High, which is the new kingdom of heaven, which is on its way. The Most High, we're not waiting on the Most High. The Most High is waiting on us to get right. And at the end of the day, you guys can do it. You just have to get out of this wicked society, get out of this world. This is total madness, and they actually know exactly what they're doing, and that's the reason why they're doing it. Keep us in sin. So stay safe, Israel. Get back to the Most High. Keep the law, statute, and commandments. You had a few today regarding marriage, and there's way more to it at the end of the day in the other lesson and whatnot. But you guys get the idea. You guys get the point. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at the Kingdom of Kings, Kingdom of Kings 144, Kingdom of Kings 144 at gmail.com. You guys stay safe out there. Kwam Yasharala, which means Rise Israel. We got next. We actually the one, the chosen. The Most High loves us. He wants us to get back. But in order to do that, we have to get back to the law, statute, and commandments. And that's all you need to do. If you go in Sirach, I'll leave you with the last precept, the last verse. Go in Sirach, Ecclesiastes, my bad. There's Sirach and there's Ecclesiastes. There's Ecclesiasticus, which is Sirach, and there's Ecclesiastes. We're going Ecclesiastes 12:13. The whole duty of man, it's to fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. So you can read that one. And that's the only thing we have to do is to keep those commandments. Stay safe, guys, and see you guys in the next video. Shalom.